everyone, welcome back to another episode of our mini album tutorial. Today we are going to look at 11 months and 12 months. Enjoy! Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. We are always so close to finishing. So today we are going to look at 11 and 12 months. So I've got my final base page here. This is it. It's these, the inside covers and the cover. So excited. Right. Breathe. So 11 months. We're going to kind of do a bit like a waterfall, a bit like a bit like a waterfall, but a sideways one. Now, this is going to be 10 months and 11 months, and we're going to have the flaps opening this way. Okay, so they're away from that sheet. First thing I'm going to do, we will measure our height of our page. So let's do, there we go. So how are you all doing? I hope you are all well. I hope things are going well for you. Hope you're all keeping safe, and yeah. Let's see, are we the right height? So good to check. Yes, lovely. I'm just going to do these to the same height, because while I've got my yeah, I might as well. So I hope you're all doing well. As I said, I am having, well, I'm up and down at the moment. So if anyone has been watching previous videos, you know I've been talking about sort of different medications and things to try and treat the lupus and get things, you know, running a bit more smoothly within my body. So I was on a medication which is can't actually remember the type of medication it is, but basically it was the first medication they give you for a lot of the autoimmune conditions, especially lupus. It's quite mild, it treats the symptoms, and for, you know, a percentage of people, sort of 80% of people, it's incredibly successful. But there are sort of 20% of people where it doesn't work for a variety of reasons. Of course, I'm in that 20%. So they took me off that medication and put me on a different medication. Just check these fit while I'm talking to you. So they took me off it and they put me on a different medication, which is slightly too long, isn't it? Which is called a DMARD, which is a disease modulating. So this medication actually deals with the problems, the disease, whereas the previous medication just dealt with the symptoms, if that makes sense. So this medication they've put me on deals more with the actual underlying problems. And so because the first medication, right, it did help. It helped a bit. It did. It helped with the fatigue, and it helped with, you know, some other bits and pieces, but it wasn't, I wasn't functional, let's put it that way. And so yeah, they changed me to this new medication, which was going really well. I then had some blood tests, and they've said, yep, this is working. Your infection markers are reducing. That is way off. How have I done that? Is that not straight? That's not straight, that's why. Sometimes I really hate past me. Yeah, so my infection markers have reduced, which is brilliant because why am I cutting it? I need to measure it. I'm having a funny 5 minutes. Yeah, my brain. So my infection markers have reduced, which is brilliant because that bear with me a second. I'm just going to straighten some of these lines because yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so my disease markers are down, which is brilliant. That's what you want. But yeah, no, don't go short. I thought I would. So my disease markers are down, which is brilliant. That's just what you want. You want your disease markers down. And everything seemed to be going okay. Then I developed a bit of a reaction to being on steroids for so long, because I have been on them for a long time, and yeah, I don't have anything, do I? Let me leave it for a second. Let me leave it for a second and I'll decide what I'm doing. So, yes, so everything's going well. And then I developed a reaction to the steroids. And it's a condition called Cushing's, which basically is where it's to do with cortisol levels in your blood, which are increased by the steroids. And it can lead to all sorts of things, including they're not tumours, but deposits that need to be removed through an operation. So the plan there, I'm just going to do my hinge, the plan there was to take me off the steroids as soon as possible. Obviously I'm on quite a high dose, so you have to come down slowly from the dosage. You can't just go from, you know, the dose that I was on to nothing. So you have to take it down and take it down by, you know, a bit each week, each couple of weeks, each month. And so that was the plan. The plan was for that to happen anyway once I was on this new medication. But we were going to give the new medication 6 months to a year to make sure that, you know, it was fully in the system. So we had to change our plan because my body has decided that nope, it is not going to have any of that. Right, let's decide where we want this. Do we want the first one to go all the way? So I'm thinking, let me grab my ruler. I'm thinking we have, say, 1/2 inch between each flap. So we've got 6 1/4. So then, so we're here, and we'd have a flap, say there, there, there. Yeah. So let's come in to 5 3/4 on that. Sorry. So yeah, the plan was to come off them anyway, but then we ended up speeding up that process because of this reaction. They have then also added me back onto my first medication. So the medication they took me off of, the one that deals with the symptoms, they have put me back on that. So I'm now taking 2 different medications. One that treats the symptoms and one that treats the disease. I don't know how that happened. So that's positive. But today has been, or this week should I say, has been the first time in this process, which has been going on for about a month now, that I've noticed a problem with my hands. Now my best friend watched a video the other day that I did, and he's like, you should show this to your doctor because your fingers look red and swollen and deformed. And I was like, oh thanks mate, I put that on the internet. I don't really want everyone looking at my hands. But yeah, so I've noticed that my hands are so sore at the moment, and I don't know if that is because of the lack of steroids, if it's because I think we want a little bit more, don't we? I don't know if it's the lack of steroids. I don't know if it's that I'm just having a bad day, because I have up and downs, always have up and downs, or a bad couple of days should I say. I don't know if it's linked to medications. I don't know anything. I don't know why my hand's so bad. I mean, to be honest, it could even be psychosomatic, because I know that I'm reducing my meds, and so maybe my head is convincing myself that there's problems with it. I don't know. But whatever it is, my hands this week are in agony. That is much nicer. Let me remind myself, how much of a gap is that? 3/4. Okay, cool. So then we'll just do 3/4 is there. So let's now mix that. So in fact I've got enough there, haven't I? Perfect. Yes, so the yeah, I'm trying to just ignore it. I had a couple of really good days when it was warmer. I mean, I prefer the warm anyway. I'm definitely a lizard. I need heat. Not necessarily sunlight, but just heat. And so the heat really, really helped. And my concern now is just that I'm having just a bad day because it's in relation to when I had some good days. I've lost my pencil mark then. Yeah, so I'm sort of hoping that it is just that the change in temperature has affected my hands. So yeah, however you do things, whether you do luck or wishful thinks or whatever, please send good thoughts my way, in the hope that actually I will be able to come off the steroids, because so many reasons, but just I really want to come off them. I hate the steroids. I hate the steroids for multiple reasons. The way they make me feel, the way they make food taste. Food doesn't taste good, but I'm starving all the time, which I know isn't like really a surprise for steroids, but you know. Okay, so we've got one flap there, one flap here, and we're going to do one more, definitely. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I am just overthinking things and making myself feel worse, but I felt rough, awful, really rough and awful. And then they said, right, we're going to take you off the steroids because this is Cushing's. This is why you feel so bad. Right, okay, great. And I was foolishly assuming that now that I've had my medication since whenever, and you know, everything is going to plan, that actually I could come off the steroids and I wouldn't have any adverse reactions. And yeah, so it's my own fault for being hopeful. I always say to people I should be pessimistic, and then you can't be let down, and I get told off for that, being told I should be more positive, and I try and be more positive and I end up feeling worse. But there we go. That's just me. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with my health and everything else. Touch wood, thankfully still not got any signs of this awful virus, which is good. I mean, I shouldn't have, because I've been shielding, I've not gone out and done anything, but you never know. You can like still get things delivered, like shopping and my medications and things. There are still times when it could have happened. Okay, and then this one, and then I don't think we want any more, do we? Do we want another one? I can't find my own one. I do here 3/4. Just how long is that? 3. No, I think 3 flaps is plenty. So yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of my body and my health and everything else. I am going to, am I going to stub or am I going to punt? Stub. So yeah, that's where I'm sort of at with my health. And as I said in my previous video, I am now looking forward to 1st of August, when apparently my life can return to normal, but still with severe strict social distancing, sorry. So everyone else is now at 1+ meters. When I go out, I still have to stick to the 2 meters. Yeah, so it's a bit positives and negatives. I'm just hoping that we don't get any more faff, which would delay my wedding even more. And sorry, I got called out. Yes, so I am looking forward to having some life back to normal and stuff. And it's lovely because everybody keeps saying to me about my wedding, you know, it'll be wonderful when you get there, it'll be really special. And I'm sure it will be really special. I'm kind of bored of talking about it, because obviously with everything going on, that's a lot of people have been asking about it, and I understand why. You know, I've got a couple of other friends who are supposed to be getting married this month. And so when I've spoken to them, I've asked about the wedding. So I understand that people want to know and they're asking about it for a good reason. I get that. I really, really do get that. I get that. But now, not only did we have to plan and get everything sorted, we then had to delay it and go through this and talk about things and figure this out and figure that out multiple times now. And I'm just bored of it. Like, this is going to sound really funny, but I am not. I'm not a typical girl. I didn't have a dream wedding planned. I didn't, you know, I wasn't waiting for my white night. I haven't got a little scrapbook with everything that I want at my wedding. Just, no, that's not me. That is not me at all. There we go. That was annoying me. Yeah, that's not me. I'm not that kind of person. You know, I know what I want for the wedding, and thankfully me and my other half and I have very similar thought processes. But I'm not really one to plan it. Like, there's a TV show called Don't Tell the Bride, and for years I've begged him that if we ever got married we should go on that, because I don't want to plan it. Like, and he was like, yeah, sure, if it wasn't on TV I'd go for it. I said, yeah, no, me too. But they pay for it, which, you know, is a start. Weddings are expensive. Even our wedding, and we're not having a proper wedding. they pay for it and I don't have to plan it. So like, I would be more than happy to know absolutely nothing, to be told a date and a time and just turn up. I'm not bothered. Like, I'm not desperate for a certain dress and a this and a that and what have you. I do have my ideals, obviously, and so does my other half, and thankfully actually a lot of what we had in mind was very, very similar or the same. But I suppose, you know, that's the thing, you're attracted to people with similar tastes and things, aren't you? That's what they say. So yeah, so we struggled actually to find what we wanted, because we knew we wanted to get married in Ireland. That was a given. But obviously there's a lot of there's a lot of religious aspects and religious wedding venues in Ireland, because the place where it is that sort of country, and neither of us are particularly religious. I'm not at all. And my other half is to a point. That, you know, we don't go to church, we don't get married in a church. I know his mum would love us to, but thankfully his sister got there first. She got married a few years ago and had a big white wedding in the church with 9 bridesmaids, 9 groomsmen, because they have such a huge family. You know, as I said about all the cousins and things. So that was then. So we don't need to do the church wedding. You know, my mother-in-law has already had a church wedding through her daughter, so we don't have to have one, which is really exciting, because that's just not either of us. So yeah, we knew we wanted to get married in Ireland, but as I said, that was tricky because of the religious factor, and I totally understand it. You know, it's a country that has a lot of religion, and weddings are a religious ceremony to them, so I've got no problem with that. It's just trying to find somewhere that did what we wanted. So what our first plan was to get married here in a registry office, sort of like 1 week, and then the following week have the reception in Ireland. So we were looking at different venues for the reception, and we found a hotel that was perfect location, price, good things, and so we contacted them to try and arrange it. And we found a couple of others as well, and everywhere was like, oh, you need to have a sit-down meal, you know, 5-course meal. I was like, okay, do you have any other options? A 4-course meal. So it was all a case of, you know, a 4-course or a 5-course meal, and we were both like, no, that's not us, not our style, not what we want. We don't want that sort of wedding. So we came up with a what we would like, and then we started messaging all the hotels in the area, all the locations that we could, to try and find one. And eventually the first place that we found got back to us and said yes, they could do exactly what we wanted, which was absolutely fantastic, because of the 20 locations that I contacted, 2 of them were willing to do something that wasn't a 4 or 5-course sit-down meal. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that that is traditional in weddings. I get that. But that was not what either of us wanted. So it was really nice to be able to find somewhere that would, and in Ireland, that would cater to what we wanted. And so we are not having a sit-down meal, we're having a buffet style meal, which is why we've had to be pushed back so far because of the virus, because we don't want it to end up being a sit-down meal. and we still want the buffet, so we are very happy with that. And then the hotel said, actually, you know, we can do your ceremony here as well. We've got an outside like pagoda. Is that the right word? No, pagoda's not the right word. They've got an outside place that they were building. I think it should be built now, for weddings. So it wouldn't be in a church, it wouldn't be religious, it can be a civil ceremony, it can be exactly as we want, and in the same venue, which makes it easier for me because I haven't got to travel. We haven't got to pay for people to travel and everything else. And then because it's Ireland and it might rain, they've also got an internal place where they could do it. So then rather than getting married here and then going over there, it worked out perfectly that we could do it all in one place, which is fantastic. So yeah. But I did say that because I don't really care about the wedding, I don't have this scrapbook of it must look like this and I must have this and it must work like this. I used to laugh and say we should go and don't tell the bride, because A, they pay for it, and B, I wouldn't have to plan it. We're going to have an interesting wedding and I am looking forward to it. I am. I'm just bored of it now because we've been planning it for a while, because it was supposed to be May of this year. So, you know, we had pretty much everything sorted and prepped and ready and decided, and then this hit, and now yeah, right. I am going to leave this to bond a little bit longer while we get the design paper. So I'm going to pop that in. So we've got yellow as our base, so this piece definitely is going to have to be yellow of some description.
So while I sort out which design paper I think will work, I just wanted to let you know that if you haven't been onto my YouTube, this is YouTube, if you haven't been on my Instagram or my Facebook yet, please do go over and pop and check it out, because you'll get to see some pictures of Pascal, who is just the cutest little chameleon. I mean, he is absolutely adorable and I love him. And yes, Pascal, very obvious name, but it fits him perfectly. He is so friendly, it's brilliant. He's like, will run up and down you, sit on your shoulder, it's lovely. So I was choosing my design paper for this, so I chose the light side of this floral piece. Again, I'm going to use that white paper just to help me find the edges. It's so easier to do this if you have a bit of contrasting paper. It just makes it easier on the eyes. You can do it without, I just find this way helps make it a lot clearer for me. So we did the flowers on the front panel, and I was just checking to see what I thought would work best with the other page, and in the end used the lighter side. We're going to stick that on, then we're going to choose our other papers. Have you guys got any pets? Obviously you've met my two cats several times now on the channel here. Have you guys got any pets? Let me know the names of your pets and what you've got. I've always been around animals and I absolutely love it, and I do think that my mental health suffers if I'm not around animals. I find them really soothing and relaxing, but I know not everyone is the same, so let me know if you've got any furry friends or scaly friends or whatever friends, swimmy friends, I don't know. Let me know if you've got any pets or family friends who you absolutely adore as well. Or maybe you don't, maybe they annoy you, I don't know. I love Magrat, but her squeaks do annoy me, so you know, everyone's different. Right, so at this point I decided that I hadn't thought about my closure. I was talking about Pascal and I got overexcited. So I have peeled this back to a point where I can get a magnet underneath, because I thought we should put a magnet on this one. So yeah, I peeled the paper back. I'm going to stick my magnet on underneath. Note to self and to everybody else, think ahead. Don't get distracted talking about a new cute animal and mess up. Thankfully I remembered pretty much instantly, and so I was able to peel the paper back, you know, because art glitter glue does dry quickly, but because I remembered almost straight away I was able to get under there. It caused then a little bit of faff, As you can see, it took a while for me to actually get it to stick back down because I'd stuck it and pulled it up already. But we got there and it was all fine in the end. So yeah, note to self, don't do that. Think ahead, makes life easier. So much easier. So much easier. Right, so we've done the front now, and then I'm going to look at where we're going to attach our other magnet to. So I got out a strip, I think this is about an inch and a quarter in total. I've folded a 1/2 inch flap. I'm just going to measure out how long I want it to be because I want it to cover the magnet completely. And this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because normally, as you have seen me do, I would just whack a strip of tape over to stick it on the other piece. But because this is a smaller piece, I was trying to figure out if I could use one of those stickers to cover it, but we'll come to that later. I'm going to stick this on, and then we're going to try and add the magnet on without being able to strip a full strip of tape. And it's easily done, it's just a little more fiddly.
This time I'm putting the tape on the back of the magnet, just because it's a smaller space, and then I can put some tape over the top as well. I don't want to score another score line in this, but you could do another, say, 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, because once this has got paper on both sides and photos, it might be a bit bulkier. I'm just going to, rather than laying it flat like this when I'm going to attach to the magnet, I'm just going to push it slightly so it curves. Okay, then I'm going to do that. So now this has got a little bit of room that you can see, and our magnet is stuck to our strip. Then we're going to add some more tape going down. There isn't really a lot of space above it. That's okay. This tape's going to go down because we do want this magnet near to the top of this tab, and then get a little bit more tape. We're going to apparently knock everything over. I'm going to go from side to side. Again, things keep hiding from me today. Perhaps I shouldn't be crafting because things keep hiding. There we go. I'm going to snip that tiny little bit off and then carry on to make sure that is stuck to the brown craft card. There we go. And once that's covered, that'll be even more secure. And then we've got a closure, which does let it bolt about at the moment. Once we've got the paper on, that won't be a problem. So here we've got this blue.
So let's cover over the rest. Again, I'm going to speed through all of the design paper measuring and cutting because you want to know how to do that. Anything special or specific, I will, let you know. But most things, it's literally just a case of figure out your paper, measure where you want it, and glue it on. So I will fast forward through that. Please let me know if you guys would prefer me to cut this out, sort of make the bulk of it, cover it off camera, and then come back. Whether you like this being sped up, whether you'd like it all at normal speed. My videos would probably be twice as long if I did do it all as normal speed. But as I said, I could do maybe 1 page per video rather than 2. These albums are quite big just because of the number of pages, but yes. So, the other thing I was going to ask you guys about was, I'm considering, as you saw in the last video, the chair. The arm fell off the chair in my craft room. And as much as it's wonderful now that my other half fixed it, it would be good to get a new chair. And for a while I've been looking at kneeling chairs because I've got back problems and hip problems and joint problems in general. I've been reading up on different types of chairs, and apparently the exercise ball is very good for lower back pain and things, but my concern with that is just the little effect to my knees because of having to balance. I'm not sure. But I have been looking at kneeling chairs, and I wondered if any of you lovelies have an experience with kneeling chairs, whether you do or whether you don't, and if you have, what your thoughts on it were, because I would really appreciate some input from other people. Yes, so I also wanted to know what else you guys have been up to. Have you done anything exciting? If the shielding... You're not shielding, I'm shielding. If the quarantining has been relaxed where you are, what have you been up to? Have you been to see people? Let me know. It's all very exciting. I saw a couple of my friends the other day, strictly socially distanced, but it was so nice to see them where I've been at home. You'll notice here I'm using 2 different glues. That's just because I have the 2 glues to hand. So I'm using my Kalal in the middle, which is my cheaper glue, and then round the edges I'm using my art glitter to make sure it's nice and stuck at the edges. Then I had 1 flap left to cover, and I spent a little while trying to figure out which paper I preferred, because I wanted to make sure that all the flaps worked together, but I was a little bit unsure as to which one of my papers would do best. So what I found was I decided which one I wanted to use, and then I found 2 smaller pieces of it, and I slotted those in to see. So I decided I wanted to use that paper, and I had 2 small offcuts, and I was looking, one's got lines, one hasn't, and that helped me to decide. So even if I don't use those small scraps, they've come in useful, so please always keep everything. Anyway, back to it. How are you? What have you been up to? What have you been doing? I have been in contact with work, so hopefully the plan is dependent on what happens with everything being relaxed, and as long as we don't have another spike or anything else, in theory I will be going back to work in September, and I cannot wait. I am so excited. So yes, let me know how you guys are doing. I'm going to be sad that I won't be able to craft as much, because I think once I go back in, the fatigue will hit back, because obviously it's quite a full-on day working in a school, but I still absolutely love it, and I wouldn't want to do anything else, so you know. But yes, so that is the front of each of our flaps covered. I'm not going to cover the back on camera. I'm going to do them off camera, because some of them might just be the solid blue cardstock, and some might just be scraps and bits and pieces, and you've seen me do like the patchwork pages before, so I'm not going to keep everything on camera. I'll do that off camera. I am going to sort out the strip with the magnet on, but then this page is pretty much done, because you don't need to see me covering every single inch. You really, really don't. So yes,
this piece in my scraps, which is going to go on there. I am going to do the corners, although I don't know whether that's even going to show. I think that might actually be covered over with an element from the never mind, eh? Let me find another scrap and I'll come back to you. I have chomped the correct corners this time, so let's add our strip on. Oh dear, this is what happens. I say I've done quite well, I've not made that many mistakes, and then I just start making mistakes everywhere. Like, yeah, frustrating, but there we go. Such is life. Such is life. So here we go. Quite thick. Right. I'm going to cover the back of it though, because I want to secure this magnet.
Okay, so for the back I decided just to use one of the blue, so I got one of the scraps out to measure up and clip it on there. I still can't quite get over how much of a complete fail that was. So I had the strip, I cut it down to size, I measured it, everything was lovely, I liked the pattern. It was the stripy one from the 6x6 pad, so it was nice, neat, tiny stripes, beautiful, and then punched it completely wrong. I mean, you couldn't make it up if you tried. So then I had to find another one. Thankfully I found the same pattern just from the 12 by 12. So the stripes are a little further apart, that's all. So I've cut down my blue strip. I'm going to punch the correct corners because I did learn from my mistakes. And then we're going to stick that onto the back of this piece. I'm going to take the tape off. I realised that I had put one strip of tape, left the backing on and put another strip of tape across it. So we had to remove that piece because it was totally useless. So yeah, I'm going to take the tape backing off. I did get a visit from the kitten. Bless her. She loves coming to say hi to you guys. It's you she comes to see, it's not me, honestly. Then we're going to stick this on and we will get started. I am absolutely loving this album. I can't believe how close we are to the end, and the thing that I am enjoying most is how interactive it's becoming. Now, as I've said before, I do make a plan, which is just sort of the base idea for each page, and then I look at it and I add things to it based on either the design paper element that I want to use or any scraps that I have left, and I'm just absolutely loving how interactive this is. You know, I did say that pop-up page was my favourite, but every page has an element that I absolutely love. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I really hope you are too. But this is 11 months completed. Let's move on. Now we're going to move on to 12 months. Now I do 12 months and then the first birthday is the inside cover. So this is just going to be another basic page in that sense, with the 12 months. So you can put in all the standard bits and pieces for 12 months. I'm going to do something, I think, with that. So let's start with a side flap, I think. I don't have any pieces thick enough, so we'll grab a new sheet. Let's cut this down to the right height. Can't believe we're on 12 months. This is like so exciting. We're nearly finished. So excited. And then I get to do the cover. I love doing the cover. I quite like doing the inside covers as well. But I love the front cover. The front cover is just, yeah, I do really enjoy making the front cover. Right, let's see if it fits nicely. Lovely. Start off with there is a little pencil mark somewhere. It's not going to be seen because it's under a flap, but I just like to get in the habit of rubbing it out if it is still visible, because I have in the past not done that and there was a bit visible on a sort of pink and white page and it really ruined it. Right, so we are this way up, so this way, so we're going to be on this side opening out. I did say that was the right height, didn't I? Yes, it is good. Okay, fine. Now, so this one we're going to do almost a full page, but we're going to come in about an inch. So let's just mark that on there to make it easier. Line this up. And we'll cut there. There it is. We're holding the paper up to the light. Couldn't see a thing. Could not see my pencil mark. For love nor money. Right, there we go. So that is that. So that is going to go on this side. So let's stick that straight down.
I'm looking forward to this. Getting this finished. I love coming to the end of a project because you can sort of see the sheer amount of work you've put in, and you get to see it all in one like piece in one place, and it looks good, and you get that pride from getting it all sorted nicely, which, yeah, that is lovely. You also, the bit that I really like, is get to start planning your next project. Yes, I am that person that is already planning the next project. I need to trim. Let's stick it down first. Oh my gosh, my throat. It's not my throat. It's literally just as my throat gets into my chest. It feels like there's something stuck there. And so I've got this sort of tickle, and it's really annoying me. And of course I panicked because I'm like, I've got the virus, because, you know, I'm allowed out now. So, and I've been to a hospital appointment recently, and yeah, so I'm a bit like, I've caught something from someone somewhere. I have, but I don't think it's the touch wood, it's not. I don't have any of the other symptoms, so that's good. It's just this tickle driving me insane. Right, so that is our stuff there. Then we're going to have a side pocket, which we haven't got yet. Haven't built in a side pocket yet. So, could use this piece, which is the offcut. That's actually quite large. So then, let's find, I think that is a bit too thick, and I don't really want to cut it down unless I have to, because, you know, it'd be better not to. If I could avoid it, that would be great. That is a bit big. So I've got this one. Where's the thing? That one. What's this one? That is tight, but I think we'll use that piece. Right. Thing is, having a drink doesn't even clear my thing because it's top of my chest. Annoying. Sorry if the constant grumbling is annoying. It's annoying me too. So let's create a half inch like so. Measure our page. So we want there. Where is my line? There it is. Put that there. Just roughly telling you where to cut, so I don't need to get my trimmer. You could quite easily eyeball that. I'm just me. Yeah. Let's fold this over, check it fits. Check it fits. Does so nicely. Time to punch. Another quick check. just, I'm just going to check, where is that line to there? Perfect. I can do exactly the closure that I want, which I'll explain in a second. So I'm going to put up, I did so well at remembering to put this pin in the other day. Today, not so much. I don't think I've put it back in once. And now everything is horrible and gunky. Proper horrible and gunky. Okay. There we go. Line this up on this edge. Let's start covering, because we don't need magnets or anything on this page. So we'll start, and then I will explain to you how we're going to do a closure for this.
So I got out my pad of paper and I kept changing my mind. I know I wanted this to be a blue page, but I really just kept changing my mind. Do I want the blue birds, the white birds? Do I want the birds on the flap? Do I want the birds on the pocket? Just kept going backwards and forwards, and then I had a little bit of a brainwave. So this really odd shaped piece I used on a previous album to cut out 4 photo mats, and that was the best way to cut it out of one sheet of paper. Now I was quite proud of myself at the time that I'd managed to do that all out of one piece of paper, but it did leave me with that really odd shaped offcut. But I've kept it because, as I say, I keep everything, and it came in handy here. I was able to cut it to exactly the right size, and yeah, that saved that. So I've now got the floral, sort of the silhouette floral, should I say, for the pocket piece, and then I'm going to cut the birds down to the right size for the flap. And I really like this because we haven't had a sideways pocket yet, and I did a couple of them in my previous album, and they're really nice. They kind of work like a tuck spot. Obviously they're not a huge pocket, you don't put everything in it like you would a normal pocket, you need slightly smaller things. But once you've got this flap on the front with the closure, actually you can put a full photo mat in there and it won't really make a difference. So we're going to trim down this bird paper. I do love this paper. When I first got it, I thought it didn't work with the rest of the pad because I thought it was too dark, but it does work really well. And yes, my trimmer blade is still playing up. It was changed very, very recently, but it is still chewing up paper. I have ordered more, I'm just waiting for them to arrive. I'm hoping it won't take too long. Again, I'm chomping my corners, which would have been so much easier before I stuck it in. I'm sure you guys remember to do that. I don't seem to at the moment.
Right, I have got to go and have dinner, so I shall be back shortly. Okay, so it is the next day. It's actually not, it's 2 days later, but there we go. And I am back now. My plan was to do 2 little swing tabs here to keep this closed. And I had some little ones that I secure with Brad, and yeah. However, I cannot find them. I have searched everywhere I can think of, and I can't find them. So we're going to have to do something slightly different. So there are a couple of options. I could create my own swing tab. So say I had a piece, probably say this thick or something, so that it would lie flat here. I could create my own swing tab so that it's there, or even 2 of them, and that we have to twist round to secure it. I could do just one in the centre actually, that would probably be enough. Or we could use a piece with magnets, so that is attached to the front here and here, or a piece that's actually removable with magnets on that holds it closed. There are too many options now because I cannot find the thing that I wanted to do. I've used a lot of magnets, so I think we're going to create a swing tab.
So I measured this piece to figure out where to do my holes. It was a 1/2 inch piece, so the centre lengthways would have been 1/4 of an inch. So I just came in 1/4 of an inch from each end, checked that it would fit, marked a little cross on that and also on the tabs themselves, so then I could punch a hole using my small hole from my crocodile. And then we've got some homemade swing tabs. Not quite as neat and tidy as the ones I had, but still workable.
Okay, so I have 3 options and I cannot decide. This is where I need you guys, like, yeah, help me. So that would be it just as a square top. Obviously it's not going to have the pink paper on, just, it was the scrap that I had on my desk. Then there's the pointed option, which is using this corner punch on it, but obviously where it's a thinner piece you create a point, or not very well curved, but a curved edge.
What I did was I just put the 3 of them on top of the design paper just to see what looked best. My concern with the pointed one was if people touch it or knock it, it might end up blunting or bending, so I was a bit worried about that in the end. So which one would you have chosen? I, in the end, decided to go with the pointed one because I just liked it best. So what I've done here, this is difficult to punch because it's such a thin strip. So I have just used some temporary tape and I've stuck it to a piece of scrap paper. Then I'm going to turn it around and do the other way, and this way helps me line it up so that I know that I get the right pointed. Going to do the same with the other piece, and then we're going to choose our design paper. Now I found this was the bit that I was going to use on the previous flap with the small stripes. So I've done that. I'm going to stick that on. Once they're stuck on, I'm going to, from the back, re-punch the hole so that I know it's in the right place. And then we're going to look at how we're going to attach it. Now, if I was doing if I was doing a swing tab ordinarily, I would use a spacer behind it. Now I've ordered some spacers, but they've not arrived yet, so what I did was I punched out 4 tiny circles using a little punch from the craft card, and I'm going to use 2 on the back of each. And the reason we want 2 is we want this to be high enough so that that flap, with paper on both sides and stuff in the pockets, will still close with these swing tabs. So we need the swing tabs to be able to lift over that page and hold it closed. And you don't want to put too much pressure on, because if there is a lot of pressure, then it could end up breaking things. So I'm just going to pin it together, glue it together and hold it together with my clips. Re-punch the hole through the little circles as well, because you've got to make sure everything lines up. I then have 2 of my brads. I got a plus and a minus. We're going to put the plus at the top just because that is the same as I did last time and I like repeating the same patterns. Put it through, put our tape on the back to hold it in place and just burnish it in. There's one tab. The other one's going to have the minus or the negative sign. And there's our second tab. So again, secure it on the back and then we're going to stick this into our book. So this is covering just the pocket flap, which will be nicely lined up underneath the punched edge we've got on there. And then we're going to do the bigger flap as well. So I'm going to line this up, and I do love how that looks with those stripy tabs over the top. I think that's just, oh, beautiful. So secured that on, and then we're going to cover our flap, stick the bird paper onto there. I can't believe how close we are to the end of this album. I am so excited. Right, deep breath, nice and calm. We've only got the final few bits to do, and then we are done with month 12.
Awesome. So there are swing tabs. Made my own because I couldn't find the ones I wanted. Back of the pocket I'm going to do blue, so I'll do that off camera. This one I think we're going to do another one of the you know, like the patchwork pieces where we divide the page up. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to create our template.
So just as we've done before, I'm using some plain printer paper here, cut it down to the size of our flap, and you've got a few options here. You could do 2 large ones, 4 small ones, 2 small and a large as I did previously. There is a whole heap of options. So first step, once you've got your printer paper to the right size, I'm going to fold it in half and trim off the edge. If your trimmer worked, you could do your trimmer, but I used my scissors because my trimmer doesn't like printer paper. So I've cut that down and we've now got 2 large pieces. You could leave it like that, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to, so I'm going to take one, fold it in half again, same thing, cut along the bending line so that cuts off into 2 pieces. So now I have 2 small and I do also have the large. I've done that set up before though. This time I've chosen 4 papers, so I'm just going through my scraps finding pieces that are the right size, and then I'm going to cut these 4 down to fit the size of my template. So I'm going to mark them all so they're all the same size, and then we're going to cut it off on my trimmer, and then we've got 4 pieces that are exactly the same size. I couldn't decide there if I wanted the deer or the butterflies, but I used the butterflies recently, so I thought I'd do the deer. So those are cut down and we're going to stick them on. So I arranged the placement with the 2 yellow opposite and the 2 white opposite. I chomped my corners and then I thought about having some tuck spots. So originally I was going to have the white as tuck spots, but I changed my mind and went with the yellow ones being tuck spots. So I have stuck this down with my art glitter glue. I have then realised my mistake. When doing a page like this, you really need to be able to adjust your pieces once they're all down. So I have swapped to my Kalau, which is a slower drying glue. You could use your Beacon 3-in-1, your Fabri-Tac, any glue that is slower to dry. So that piece I'm covered completely. The first piece I just covered as if it was a tuck spot. The deer piece covering it completely, and then this flowers, 3 edges to make it a tuck spot. Now that they're all there, because this glue isn't dried quickly, it's still able for me to wiggle these pieces around so I get a nice even border around all of them and through the middle. And as you can see, I fiddled with it for quite a while, and this glue is absolutely brilliant for that because it allows me to keep moving them until everything is set up. And then I'm going to hold it while I burnish with my bone folder because I don't want to push them out once I've got them all rightly aligned.
Okay. I'm going to put something in the centre of this. I'm going to use one of these pieces from the front page, which I went to cut out and realised that they're stickers, so I don't need to cut them yet. So we've got some teddies, but that's going to be quite a big piece. I'm going to save the cake for the back page for first birthday. We've got deers, we've got teddies, we've got the pram. I think we want something that we don't have, so maybe the car. That car might be a nice size. So I think perfect size. So what we're going to do, I'm going to find a piece. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use that piece. Find a piece that this will stick on. So we'll just grab this front piece here. Oh, forget how tight this one is because there is a lot in here. As I say, keep everything because you never know. Keep everything. Okay, I'm going to use some extra glue. It's a sticker, but I just like to be like 100% sure. So I am going to put some, if my glue will come out. Hello. Hello. Okay. Just add some glue to it as well to make sure. I'm going to stick this on here. And then I'm going to cut around this. Okay, so we've got our little car, and I'm literally just going to glue in the centre. So we'll do a little bit there. And all this does is, it hides the fact that if you've cut ever so slightly wonky, your points don't line up perfectly in the centre, but also it just adds a nice design element into the centre of the page, like so. And because it's only stuck down, along those lines, you can stick a photo underneath it on all 4 pieces. So if you don't want to use these as a tuck spot, or if you want to use it as a tuck spot and add a photo, you can do both, which is why I like doing little bits like that. And then our 12th month is done. So we did our flip pages for 11 months with our magnet closure, and then 12 months we've got our 2 swing tabs, our side pocket and our corner piece. Thank you very much for spending time with me today, guys. Keep crafting and I'll see you soon. Bye.